There's nothing that pisses me off more than seeing trash in a stream. Humanity, seriously. Sometimes I wonder. If you see something like this, pick it up, carry it out. Even if it's not your trash, make the place better for the next visitor. Got it. Ugh. And I didn't get that wet. One of the things I really enjoy about landscape photography is just the exploration that goes along with it. You know, sometimes I have very specific shots that I'm going out for and that I've planned and I know exactly what I'm gonna do. But then there's other times like today where I don't really have much of a plan. I'm just driving around looking for interesting compositions and different elements and getting a feel for what the environment and the landscape is telling me right now, what it has to offer. And even if I don't walk away with any good images from today, it's still a great day to be out and exploring, especially with my buddy Kyber here. He's always along for the ride, so we're gonna check out a couple of locations and see what we can find. Okay, so I found my first location. It's maybe not ideal, but it is kind of what I was looking for to shoot today, which is that mixture of higher water coming off the mountains and through our streams, long exposures with snow bridges and that sort of thing over top of the stream. So this is sort of what we're looking at here, and what drew my attention to this scene was these ice bridges with this really kind of dark silt and mud over top of them. So there's a lot of different contrast occurring here between the snow that's on top of those areas, the stream and the long exposure we're gonna get from that, and then these snow bridges. So that's what I'm going to capture. I've got my camera set up here. I'm using the Lee filter system on the front of the camera, and I have a circular polarizer and a 10-stop neutral density filter. Shooting ISO 100, f8, and we're gonna be doing an 8-second exposure on this, which with the velocity of the water coming through here should be enough to really smoothen that water out. All right, so I'm a little farther upstream right now. I just moved just above and kind of into my previous composition, looking for little elements maybe that I could pull out to create a better image. So I will show you where I'm at right now with this. So this is the upper cascade that was in the previous shot. And a couple of the things that I like about this is you can actually see through this snow bridge up here, and then all of this kind of these dark elements and that sediment kind of smearing down that ice adds a lot of interest and contrast. So again, on the camera I have a 10-stop neutral density filter just to push that shutter speed out a little bit farther. I'm able to get a shutter speed of 15 seconds on this image. I'm shooting at f8, ISO 100. Also have the circular polarizer on the front there, and that's just gonna help cut down on the glare that's on the rocks and on the surface of the water. So I've been exploring these little streams, looking for little elements and compositions that I can capture. And you might think that to get these really nice flowing waterfall images that you need a big waterfall or a big stream, and that's just not the case. Any moving water is going to work, and you can find just dozens of beautiful little scenes if you follow the little streams and look for the tiny cascades that exist. So right now I'm about to capture this little cascade behind me, and you know, it's only maybe 3 feet in height, but by really focusing in on that composition, it's gonna lead to a really nice image. So again, I'm shooting with a circular polarizer and a 10-stop neutral density filter on the front of the camera to extend out that exposure and to really cut the glare on the water and help bring out some of the stone elements that are in the scene. So I just want to point out that if you're going to be photographing little streams and cascades, you're really going to need to get in the stream a lot of times. So I just want to point out that I have a good pair of waterproof hiking boots on that, you know, I can't go too deep in this, but I can get my feet wet, I can move around, and I'm not concerned, but really looking forward to this image. All right, so I'm at what I think is going to be my last location to shoot for the day. This spot I visited in the summer. It's this really steep, cascadey stream that only flows, you know, in the springtime or under big rain events. So I thought it'd be worth climbing around up here and seeing what we can find. And I think there's going to be some great cascades to capture out here. So sometimes Kyber doesn't really like to follow me wherever I'm going and sits back and looks at me like, what the heck are you doing? So, you know, he's not sure how to negotiate all of this over to where I'm at, and this is kind of what we're looking at up ahead of us. All right, so I'm at the top of this cascade and just looking around trying to see what might work for a good photograph. There's a lot going on up here. And so, kind of what's going through my thought process right now is, do I want to capture all of these myriad of cascades? Let me just show you that. That are kind of behind me. There's just water flowing down really everywhere. Or do I want to really try and focus in on one particular cascade in a really tight composition? What I'm sort of thinking is this log here acts as a nice leading line, kind of pointing up to some of these other cascades and through the image. So I'm considering getting a really low perspective on that log, kind of looking up past all of these cascades and these interesting rock formations. I'm always nervous about a really busy scene because it really can kind of be confusing for the viewer as to where they should be looking. So on the one hand, it's really neat to see, it just looks like the side of the mountain has sprung a leak and there's just water coming out from everywhere, which is really interesting and really fascinating. My concern is it might be a little too much. It might be a little too busy or confusing for the viewer. But I think I'm going to go with it. I think I'm going to start with that wide shot and then see how I feel about that, and then maybe pick out one or two elements to really focus in on. Okay, so I captured that shot. I stuck with the wide composition. I think it's gonna work okay. So I'm gonna finish packing up my camera gear and slowly make my way back down this series of cascades, making sure I don't break through any of that ice, and then I'm being as safe as possible. All right, I'm back in the truck. I think I'm gonna call it a day. You know, I didn't really have a plan going into this day as to where I was going to shoot or the exact location. And a lot of times I do. A lot of times I spend quite a bit of time planning shots in advance, scouting locations. And that's kind of what today was to some extent. But really going through and thinking about where I'm going to go, when I need to be there, when is the light going to be right, all of these things. Whereas today I just sort of played it by ear. I went exploring small streams, looking for nice long exposure, cascading, cascades and that sort of thing. And, I ended up with some images that I'm happy with. So, that's one of the things I really like about landscape photography, is that it really encourages you to get out and to explore small elements within the landscape, as well as those big grand vistas that a lot of people are drawn to and a lot of photographers focus on. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And if you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe. Thanks.